Let me ask you a question. What's the reason new coaches and creators who start a mentorship stay broke? And what is it that separates them from the info gurus who will constantly generate 5 to 6 figures per month with their brands? If you believe that it's audience size, content skills, their strategy, you're not wrong. However, if we were to take two creators or coaches with the same amount of followers, where one is generating nothing and the second is generating tens, if not hundreds of thousands per month, the single biggest advantage the second creator will have is going to be clarity. Let me explain. They have clarity on the levers they need to pull in their system to generate consistent income. And while it sounds simple, clearly it's not, because most coaches and creators stay poor. They will either make a boatload of cash one month and then starve the next month, or they will make nothing at all. And that's all because they lack clarity and they keep throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping that it sticks. And so in this video, you're going to see how me and my business partner Lionel helped a new creator with just 2,000 followers, his name is Lucio, start pulling the right levers in his business to start generating tens of thousands per month with his mentorship. I broke down exactly what he needs to do right now to make the most out of his small audience, and exactly what he needs to do to set the foundation to scale as his audience grows. There was absolutely nothing held back in this call because this was a call Lucio paid for. I'm sharing it with you today for absolutely free, and here's the best part. I cut out nothing at all. And you'll be able to copy this strategy because on this call, I broke down everything he needs to do in 3 simple pillars. The first pillar that we showed Lucio was the market alignment strategy that you can use to, number 1, perfect your offer, and number 2, start attracting qualified followers into your audience and not just random brokies who can't afford your program. And when you understand this market alignment pillar, you're also going to be able to grow your audience faster, a qualified audience. The second pillar that we showed Lucio is our low ticket funnel ascension strategy that when you implement will help you make more out of that unqualified leads in your audience, especially if you have an audience from more third world countries or a younger audience who simply doesn't have a higher buying power. And with this low ticket ascension strategy, you'll be able to take those low ticket buyers and convert them into high ticket mentorship sales in as little as 24 hours. In fact, as I record this, Lucio has already made his first money with this low ticket funnel ascension strategy. Now, the last pillar that I broke down for Lucio was the lead magnet funnel. And this can be a cashpreneur if you run a lead magnet content funnel.
Yeah, so we're trying to get the we're having problems getting a checkout on the first page. Like the Stripe checkout page wouldn't work. So we're trying to fix something like that. But this like and it just blurs to
I see.
like that. And then we're gonna shrink this. But right now, since this isn't like perfect, we literally just did straight to a checkout page, which you can go be in messages. This one, yeah, just did this, and then just but I didn't like that we can't put any like photos or mock-ups, so we're trying to dial the funnel.
Yeah, if you guys set it up on GHL, you can just connect your Stripe and then use a 2-step order form.
Okay. Is there a way I can just copy that mock-up and then just fill it out as ours?
You mean like, can you preload it into GHL?
The one you did for the Snapchat thing.
Oh yeah, you should be able to.
Okay.
I can send you, I don't know if GHL removed the option to copy GHL funnels themselves. I know for a fact that you can copy the ClickFunnels funnel. That's not a feature they removed. You can just like steal people's funnels from ClickFunnels. I don't know if they removed the GHL copying though, but I sent you a few, right? So you can just copy the ClickFunnels one and like preload it in your GHL, and then it's just going to be on your funnel page and you can edit it. And then for the checkout, I would use a 2-step order form on GHL, because the thing is, not everyone's going to purchase, your low ticket, but at least you can get it opt-in. And then from those opt-ins, that's someone that you can win back with sequences, right? With email and SMS sequences, and then actually like convert them, right? And then you have them as a lead as well for the future. Because,
so they'll click the call to action and then they'll opt in, and then the checkout page is there.
Yeah, it's a 2-step order form. So because the first step of the order is name, email, phone number. If you want to reduce friction, you can remove phone number. I suggest you keep it just because you have them as lead, right? And you can text them. So it's not worth removing. And then the next page is the actual card information page, right? But if you could collect their phone number, because not everyone's there's gonna be people who drop off at the checkout, right? On the checkout page. Yeah. But you still have them as leads. And with that, you should be aiming for 5 to 7%. It's an organic audience. You can get upwards to 10, but 5 to 7% conversion rate will be good. And then I would also add with GHL, you can add order bumps, right? So have you guys thought about that? Adding 2 order bumps to increase your order value on low ticket?
Yeah.
Okay. So with the order bumps, the way you structure order bumps is going to be the next logical problem they're going to have. So if they have this, I'll give you an example with trading. If they have my trading strategy, right, what is the next logical thing that someone might need? And this comes down down to market research, right? I don't know if you had a chance to watch the video or go through the process for the market research, but with trading, for example, the next logical thing they're going to need is going to be like, I'm getting this person's strategy. I want to see what charts this person uses to analyze the markets and actually take his trades. So that's an order one, right? And then another one is risk management calculator, right? This is for a specific trading offer I'm thinking of that we ran, but it should be the next logical thing, right? If they have the course, what are going to be some things they can use, right? And then you can test order bumps. And typically, the way I like to structure order bumps is the first order bump is going to be the price of your the same price as your program, right? So if it's $29, the order bump would be $29. And then the second order bump, I like to actually charge more, so it would be 47. I would test 2 price points, 47 or 97, and I would test around with that. Another option for a second order bump that works offer to offer, it's offer dependent and market dependent, is going to be a newsletter, right? So you can have recurring. So there's a few things that you can do with subscriptions. It's something that has worked really well in the trading space, somewhat well in the fitness space. But essentially, the first order bump is something tangible, kind of like I explained. The second order bump is a newsletter, right? So you get the course, and now every single day you're going to get daily tips from me on how to do XYZ, right? Whatever you're learning about, and you can charge a recurring amount for that. And then the other thing is, if you have them on a newsletter and they're paying for it, they're going to be opening it, right? So that's another ascension opportunity, because you can actually be remarketing your mid-ticket or your high-ticket offer in a newsletter as well. But with the newsletter order bump, it's tricky. It doesn't work sometimes because it is a subscription. To make it work better and convert better with the order bumps, you should be targeting 30 to 40% take rates on the first and second order bump. If you want to make it perform higher, you can do a free trial with the newsletter. So try this 7-day newsletter for free, right? If you hate it, cancel it. If you like it, you're going to get automatically rebuilt essentially. And then they stay. And then a lot of people just forget to cancel it. And then you just have MRR customers for a long time, right? Especially if you charge a little amount. But let me share my screen real quick. I'm going to run through kind of what I would do. And it's kind of what I explained on the other call. First thing I want to ask though is, have you guys done any market research? Have you thought about scheduling calls, getting on calls with people from the audience, possibly any of your friends that you've helped?
Yeah, I scheduled 2 calls for, I had one yesterday, and then but we ended up rescheduling, and then I've asked probably 10 to 12 people just through Instagram voice messages. But I do need to do more, scheduling actual calls to interview. But they're not opposed to it.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, if you're struggling with like converting those, I would just position the market research calls as like feedback / consulting calls. So it's like, first, I'm just trying to. The reason I'm doing this call is so I can make content that's better suited to you and better serve you in my content, right? To help you scale your detailing business. So if you position it from like a benefit point, right, you're going to get a lot more schedules for that. And then if that doesn't perform, you can also just throw in. And at the end of the call, if you have any questions, right, about scaling, I could also help you with that, right? And that way, you're going to get a lot more people to actually book that in and just get done with the process a lot faster. So you're not like going back and forth with a lot of people. And then you create a creative brief. There's an SOP on this. Obviously, the 2-hour Loom I sent you. You want to go deep with this, because with the creative brief, this is something you can use for pretty much ever. And something that the creative brief works really well with is saving you time with AI. And it's something that I personally use the creative brief for the most, or even when I'm like copy chiefing a page and I'm trying to improve it. That's where I always refer back to the creative brief, because you have all these pain points and desires in your mind. There's going to be things that you miss out, right? You are your avatar, and I'm talking to you, Lucio, but at the same time, there's going to be some things that you haven't experienced, right? Or some things that you forgot, right? Some things that you don't struggle with anymore. So it's good to always have something to refer back to. And there's a structure for this in the SOPs as well. When you do your market research, or even as you're doing this right now, I would also create a checklist. Do you guys have any sort of checklist on like what needs to be done to actually launch this and scale this, or no?
I have a 4-day setup sheet in Miro.
4 days setup?
Yeah, it's in Miro.
Okay. What does that look like? Is it just like step by step what you need to do?
Well, Lucio's offer was a bit different than we're regularly working with, but I can share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
1 sec, sorry. It's not working.
That's okay.
It's basically just a setup sheet, day 1, day 2, day 3, pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah. I would just set up the things that you like, everything that needs to be done to actually like launch and scale the offer. And the things from the marketing side of things, the back end automations. And I'm gonna obviously show you some of these things here.
Yeah, most of the are already good. We've got most of the main stuff set up. The only problem is We're having
Yeah.
a lot of trouble with the funnel, and usually, well, I waived Lucio's onboarding fee, but usually we go through and pay someone else to do the funnel. So this is all new to me. So it's kind of interesting hearing what you guys say.
Now, as you're watching this call recording, and if you want the strategy implemented for you, or maybe you're implementing the strategy yourself and you need some help, maybe you want the entire thing implemented on a done for you basis, if that's something that you would find helpful, scroll down to the first link in the description of this video and book your business audit call with me on the page linked below. Now, let's cut to the call.
Okay. And then what are you struggling with the low ticket funnel specifically, or what are you struggling with in your funnel?
We were trying to embed, it wasn't working. Sending the circle, we were having trouble with access pages. It was
Okay. Is
Yeah,
I know
our
that.
low ticket. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Our low ticket right now is going into the community, and it's like a small fraction of the community, and so we were having problems giving them access to see just that one, and then actually having them opt in so we have their information.
Okay. And the current low ticket page that you just built out, is that still on Framer, or did you move to GHL?
It's on Framer.
Okay. So I think if you move to GHL, that's just going to solve all your problems. It's just going to make your life easier. Do you usually, and this is more of a question for Gavin, do you guys usually like use ClickFunnels or GHL?
Well, see, that's the thing. We're not even using GHL. We're using Close.
Okay. Has Close updated a feature where they allow you to build sites now?
I think I did see some today, actually. I can check.
I haven't seen that yet. Okay. Typically we'll build everything on GHL. It's just easier, and then you obviously have all the integration you need. And then also with I can get into the funnel here. So I'd run the low ticket ascension funnel. This is something that you're building out, and I can go over the steps. But with GHL, like, it's gonna collect the opt-ins for you, right? They're gonna be in GHL, and then with the invitation problems, when someone opts in into the two-step order form, it's going to automatically collect their opt-in, and you can set up an automation in GHL that will send them a link to the Circle community or their invitation. To be completely transparent with you guys, I've never used Circle. I always use School or Discord. Those are the only two things I've used for communities. But with Circle, I'm assuming, is there some sort of invitation link that you can send to people when they?
There is, but it was hard to figure out how to access. It was like once you invite them with an invitation link, it was like they get all access to the community.
And you're trying to give them limited access, right? Because of the low ticket.
Yeah, we're just trying to get them one blueprint, so then they see the rest and they're like, oh shit, I need those too, and then upsell from there.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I can't really comment on that because I haven't used Circle, but with GHL you can send the invite link. You can send an email,
figure it out.
Text message. Yeah, email and text message are automated to them right when they purchase. But yeah, I would run a low ticket. I would you have it at 29 with just like more psychological price, and I'd test 27. Test between 17 and 27, and you can also test 47. Pricing makes a huge difference with low ticket offers. Sometimes it makes a bigger difference than the actual offer itself and like the headline, which is kind of crazy, but that's what it is, because it is meant to be an impulse purchase at the end of the day. So I would test around with your pricing. With low tickets, I don't know how much traffic you're getting right now to the page, and kind of we actually looked at your link clicks. You were getting in a month 56 profile clicks, I believe. And I know Lionel's helping you, is going to help you increase that. But I would make any changes typically around 700 page visits, which is kind of high. And I'm not sure how long it would take you to actually get to that point in like data where you have that much data to make a change, because you are getting lower link clicks right now. So you could divide that, but I wouldn't make any changes in terms of like testing prices under 200, 250, not profile visits, page visits. Because then you just don't have enough data to kind of like test around. But you could also do a split test. There's a way to set it up where you could split test 2 pages, right, with 2 different prices at the same time on GHL.
Because I remember the exact KPIs you were at. You were getting around 12,000 profile visits per month, and you were at 56 specifically link clicks, right? I'm looking at your organic content, like that's literally the biggest bottleneck. Literally, right? That can go down to maybe the audience that you're attracting, right? But I don't really think that's the biggest problem. It might just be the messaging in your bio, and we can take a look at that here. We're in the group chat, so we can. That's not something that we would use on a call, but I would put heavy emphasis on changing that, because like I told you, we get around the same amount of page visits, but I get around 500 link clicks per month. right? So that's a 10x with the
Yeah.
with the same amount of page visits. So I think I already talked because you said that content is kind of like what you were perceiving as your biggest bottleneck right now, but you don't have a content problem, so to speak, because your content gets views, right? It is attracting the avatar. Number one, you had a volume problem, right? Because with that format that is so low effort and bringing in like good views, right? That's more top of funnel, right? You can pump out like 3 a day, and I don't think that would like be too crazy. So that would be the number one. And again, we talked about this through our group chat. But number two thing would be those link clicks need to go up because there's no reason why you should be getting a 12,000 page. And I'm rounding up here, but there's no reason why you should be getting 12,000 page visits per month and only 60 people click on your links. There's just no reason why that should be happening.
Yeah, that's definitely a big bottleneck. But in terms of funnel itself, I'll go back to this. With your low ticket, as I said, you should be aiming for 5%. On the order bumps, aim for 30-40% take rates on the bumps. On the pages I sent you, there are bump examples, and you can just copy the structure of that. From here, you have to have a win back sequence for every boss step in your process, right? So if you have people who opt into the low ticket page and abandon, you should be sending them SMS and email sequences. There's SOPs for this to win them back, right? So when someone buys a low ticket, regardless of if they buy bumps, the next page is going to be your mid ticket. We talked about this on the last call. Your low ticket offer is going to be the lead magnet. That's the highest performing lead magnet. Right now, it's the blueprint. I'm not sure if is the blueprint your highest performing lead magnet, or is that still what it was on the last call?
The blueprint is, yeah, we turned that into the low ticket.
Great. Okay. And then obviously the low ticket you had where it was actually like giving them time and stuff, that's turns into the mid ticket offer. I would charge $497. Test $497 and $297 for the mid ticket. With the mid ticket, you're gonna have a no thanks button, right? Because it's like someone completes their low ticket, they have to have next steps. There's some compliance issues with that, but it's more of just sending them, right? When someone purchases the low ticket, the next page is the mid ticket. Make a $497 offer, and then from here, give them an option on the mid ticket page. You should have a VSL, right? And under that, a one-click upsell button, which you can do in GHL. I can also send you examples of that after this call and show you how it works. Under the one-click upsell button, have in text, no thanks, I don't need this right now button, right? Give them an option to opt out. If they click the no thanks button, right? So they watch the VSL, and something I would also test with your mid ticket offer, when you have your mid ticket VSL, have a timer, right? So they can't actually so it's not like they buy the low ticket, they land on the mid ticket page, they see $497 and click off. Have a timer so they watch the VSL, right? That's selling the mid ticket offer. And then once you actually pitch, make the CTA and the VSL, that's when the button comes up and the rest of the page comes up on GHL so they can actually see it, right? The pricing, because they're educated. And then you have the one-click upsell button, which means if they just click that button, it just automatically charges them. And then under that, you have a no thanks button. If they click no thanks, I would have a win back pop-up where it just re-offers the mid ticket at a lower price. So if you're doing $497, I would discount it to $397 or $297 and offer it there. One thing I would also consider, guys, is you're using Stripe right now. Consider using WAP's checkout for the mid ticket specifically, because that's going to cause problems with the one-click upsell, because the way the one-click upsell works is it takes their payment information from the low ticket page and basically auto populates it in the mid ticket page without them having to re-enter their information. So they can just click a button and then it charges them. But the reason I would test WAP, possibly on the re-offer pop-up, right? If they click no thanks specifically, right? Because you can offer them payment plans. Because if you get WAP, right, and you can get your financing in order, and this is something that you might have to do down the line because you need to collect $20K with WAP to get the financing. But you'll be able to split they'll be able to split the mid ticket into 12 payments, interest free with Split It, right? And you can embed the WAP checkout on the page itself. Like there's an API and you can plug it into GHL on the pop-up.
What's your opinion on fan bases?
I prefer WAP now because they lower their fees and they have better financing options.
They have better than fan bases?
Yeah, because you got Split It now, right? And then you can, if you have a rep, right, you can get a 2.7% fee on WAP now. And they lowered their fees because WAP used to be a white label of Stripe, right? So that's why they would charge like 5% or 7%. It was crazy. But now they kind of became their own. I think it happened after they got Emon on. I don't know what they did, but they do their own payment processing now, so it's not white labeling.
Don't they do withdrawal fees though?
I'm not sure. It depends account to account. Like I've been using WAP for pretty much like every offer we've onboarded since July. And it's been better than Stripe. You also win more chargebacks on WAP. That's a real thing. So if people do charge back for no reason, which does happen, there's a much higher, like I've tested the same chargeback. There's a chargeback SOP as well, but the same chargeback process on Stripe and WAP, it always performs better on WAP. And then the crazy thing is the split it, right? Like it just makes like selling high ticket as well as mid ticket offers just so easy, because someone can split, $500 into 12 payments of $45 a month interest free by putting it on a card. You don't get a crazy payment processing fee now with WAP, right? And you're not losing money on that. You get all the money up front. So it's been just superior in my eyes to fan bases since they removed the fees.
I would also say that for Split It, which is WAP's biggest advantage, you do have to have a minimum of $20,000 or $30,000 profits, right? So if you guys are not there yet, and that's within the last 90 days too. If you guys are not there yet and you guys feel, because everything's contextual to your situation, and you guys feel like you need to finance, right? Depending on if you guys go super high ticket or high ticket in general, I would use fan bases because they just allow you to finance off the jump.
See, okay, so about the high ticket, I mean, what's y'all's opinion on it? Like, I really don't see a high ticket offer doing good in this niche.
Yeah, this is what I was going to get to, right? So do you guys have any sort of setters or dialers or any sales team that you were planning on placing? Or do you guys, Gavin, would you take calls yourself?
We do, but not on this offer, like specifically.
Okay. So would you take calls yourself, or would it be Lucio taking calls?
I mean, as of right now, I'd see the traffic being so low that he could do it himself.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So for high tickets specifically, I would just send them from the low ticket community, and then if someone purchases the mid ticket, and this is both for low ticket and mid ticket purchases, right? So someone purchases the low ticket, they go to the mid ticket page, they click no thanks, we give them an onboarding call because they're a paid buyer. They're not just a lead, right? Someone buys the low ticket and mid ticket, we still give them the onboarding call page where they get onboarded. And then the way that onboarding call works is the first 5 to 10 minutes is just onboarding. And then you're able to flip that and start digging into their situation and seeing if they're qualified for the high ticket call, right? So, sorry?
You're saying target made an upsell to high if they're qualified?
Yeah, so if they already bought a low ticket, or the mid ticket offer, I would get them on an onboarding call, right? And then see if they're qualified for the high ticket offer, right? And upsell them on that call. Because I'll give you some stats. With a free community funnel, and this is across multiple offers, you'll typically see like a lead to sale of 2%. That's if the sales team is dialed in. So it's like, imagine a free Discord funnel or just any sort of like free community funnel where you collect an opt-in. With low ticket funnels, once they actually pay, we'll typically see a 10 to 15% lead to sale rate, right, into the high ticket, because they're willing to invest, right? They're willing to invest on the front end, and that's the mindset they show up on the call with, right? So there's a much higher ascension rate when someone buys a low ticket product prior to jumping on a high ticket call. And then what you can also do if they bought a low ticket or a mid ticket specifically, you can also just wipe that off their balance. So if the high ticket is $4K and they already paid $500 for the mid ticket, you could wipe $500 off the high ticket price, right? That's what I was saying. Essentially, give them a discount.
Yeah,
that's what I would run. And then with both of these, you could choose with the low ticket specifically. If someone drops off your win back SMS and email sequences, if someone drops off on the mid ticket page, you could choose to, and this is something I would test as well. That's why I'm saying you could choose to do a win back sequence for either the mid ticket offer itself or the onboarding call. If you want to upsell more high tickets, and if you feel that the leads are qualified, I would push more people to the onboarding call rather than trying to recuperate the mid ticket sale. So it's like someone doesn't buy this, right? They get tracked on the funnel step. So you can have an automation that someone landed on the mid ticket page and they didn't purchase it. So now you can have SMS and email sequences to win those people back.
Okay.
And then I would choose between doing it for the mid-ticket offer itself, like, hey, did the page lag out? Was there a misclick? Or the onboarding call. I would personally typically prefer to do the onboarding call, see if they're qualified, and that, because that just increases your AOV, right? Even if like you get 10 of these people to, you message these people and you get 10 of them on an onboarding call and one buys, you get 4K for the high ticket offer. But also, like, I would consider for the onboarding calls, if you want to save Lucio's time, you could just get a dialer, part-time dialer who can take them. They're inbound calls. It's very easy to get a sales rep for inbound calls. The dialer can do the onboarding, then do the qualification. If the person's qualified, they can book them on a second call, which is going to be the sales call, right? And that way, Lucio is not wasting his time, possibly speaking to broke prospects.
Right.
So that's what I would run. Yeah, and then the emails or the invitation, text that through GHL as well as email through GHL. I already talked about the no thanks button with the offer or the re-offer. For the emails, I'm going to give you 2 more SOPs for email campaigns. And are you guys managing the email list or once there's an email list, are you doing emails for Lucio, or what for Lucio, are you doing those?
Yeah, I sent them the email list. We haven't started yet.
Yeah.
How big is the email list?
200.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll send you these. One of these is like 20 pages, the other one. And then there's a bot that you can actually use. It's a templatized bot you can use for this offer. Everything with like any bot that I send you or any like SOP where you can plug it in with AI, it's heavily reliant on the creative brief, which is why the first step is always the market research. So then it doesn't like write retarded copy and it actually writes stuff.
For that
Right.
in copy.
Sorry?
I have a flow.
You're cutting in and out. We
I
can't
thought I lagged out.
Nah.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I have this AI workflow bot. I can just plug it in there and then it can write the copy.
That's perfect. Are you using that for your ads?
Yeah, all my copy goes through the bot. I put in like my hero's journey and my ICP and stuff like that.
Okay. With your lead magnets, if you're running lead magnets, I would test sending people from ManyChat to the low ticket page, right? Or I would test a free opt-in for like testing the old lead magnets you had, and then you have, because you get their, if they opt in for the lead magnet, and what I mean there is like when they if you send a free opt-in lead magnet with ManyChat instead of the low ticket, don't just send them to a Google Doc. Send them to an opt-in page with a headline for the lead magnet, so that you can collect their email, number, name, and actually remarket the low ticket or the next offer to them. I would split test between both of those. The low ticket page is going to be more automated, but I would just test how that converts. And then in terms of your ascension in the community itself, if they don't book the onboarding call, the first thing like I would have in the low ticket community, this is regardless of if they're just a low ticket only or a mid ticket buyer as well, I would have your onboarding call right pinned, like the post pinned. Again, I'm not sure how Circle works. Do you have a community channel where you're able to like pin posts and there's posts like school?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd pin a post and have step number 1, book your onboarding call to make the most out of the 10K per month detailing blueprint, right? So you're getting more calls pushed into the high ticket ascension right away. Do you have a DM automation option on Circle, just like you have one in school? Do you know if you have that?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
Okay, I would check and then send them an auto DM. And then are you with the low ticket offer right now? Do you plan on running any calls at all? Any group calls?
The low ticket? Yeah, I was thinking of doing like a 1-week webinar just to try to upsell them to the mid ticket.
Yeah, I'd run that. I would do a mix.
Gavin, what's your opinion on that? You kind of shook your head no.
Well, I thought we just agreed. No, I didn't know. I didn't know that was a plan. I'm down. No, I think that's a great idea, but I forgot.
I would mix it between webinar and Q&A, so it's just not overly salesy. 1 week do a Q&A call, 1 week do a webinar call, and at the end of the call, you can always pitch the mid ticket or the onboarding call.
So
right, depending on what you want to optimize for.
Sorry. In Circle, we have like the chat for the people that buy the mid ticket. There's like a chat they all get thrown into. You think we should give the low ticket access to that?
No, make another chat for the low ticket. Call the mid ticket chat priority chat. So the mid ticket people, they get a priority channel where Gavin actually like jumps in, and then the low ticket chat is standard chat. Sorry, I didn't mean Gavin. I meant Lucio. And to be fair, like you can be as active in both chats, but the priority, right, that is just like a bonus, right? So that makes people want to ascend. They get priority support in the mid-ticket. They get a priority support chat.
So right now we have it set up to where that high ticket offer looks like the priority chat, and then the mid ticket's the regular chat.
For the high ticket, I would just do like a one-on-one, right? Because I think that's what we were talking about on the last call, from my understanding.
Yeah, we
You want us to
haven't
do done for you.
we haven't really mocked up a crazy high ticket yet. We were trying to just dial
Well, I
in.
take us a little bit off topic. Well, not even off topic, but talking about the products, right? Do I have permission to do that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. With that bot that you created for yourself, right? Use that for like running your ad, for creating your creatives and your ads and stuff like that for your own detailing business, right? How easy would that be to replicate for your potential clients?
Which ticket?
It doesn't matter, right? Before we put it to a ticket assignment, right? Let's see how easy would that be to replicate.
Here, let me literally just show you.
And replicate the entire detailing business or the online space of
the copy.
Just the bot itself. Because of course I don't understand much about the avatar, right? Because it's not my niche. But I'm thinking a new detailer is not going to know shit about running ads. So if you tell them a bot that's going to create the copy and pretty much tell them what to do on ads, I think that would be very valuable.
Can you see my screen?
Did you already talk about the like done for you setup too, Lucia?
Yeah, we can talk about high ticket later. That'll be all high ticket.
Oh, is that not what we're talking about right now?
No, we're just. Yeah. I'm just asking, like, how easy would it be to duplicate that bot for somebody else? That's just the question I'm asking.
Okay, so I feel like the issue here would be this runs on a credit system, and so it's an extra. So it'd have to be priced around $500. Let's see, how many credits? 6K. That would probably get me like 8 people for like weekly copy. I don't know. Let's see. I'm like 6 days in. It resets every month. I'm 6 days in. I use 500. I definitely post more than the average person.
I mean that I'm sure that the numbers can be played with, right?
Yeah, but I can just duplicate this, and then the only problem would be credits.
Are you able to white label this?
So it costs 400.
I just sniff an opportunity here. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Like Vlad, he's the mastermind for like all the back end stuff.
I can affiliate these, so maybe it'd probably be in the 750 range though for price.
That might be something that because again, before we figure out like money and stuff, we have to see how viable it is for this to be a product. Because
I think that would be a very viable product.
Even if we put that as an add-on to a high ticket, right? And maybe you don't give off the bot. Maybe you tell them like, "Hey, we write your copy every week."
Yeah.
I don't know. As a beginner detailer, how valuable would that have been for you?
Crazy.
You know,
that could be very good.
That's just like I said. Vlad's leading this meeting for a reason, but sorry to interrupt you, but I just
just to bounce an idea. So I have so the blueprint right now, the low ticket, it's the actual blueprint and then a script, and then I can do like a CTA, like want your copy written for you, for the week. That could definitely be an up chart, like a tier up. Put
this like just in a tick, like figure out how easy it would be to distribute. And then figure out how much it would cost to fulfill for an actual client or to actually give it out to somebody. And then just build your math off of that. Because if it's super difficult to actually do and it's too expensive, right? It's like, But if it's not, if it's literally just copy and paste, it doesn't really.
It definitely could be. I mean,
to liquidate that within a high ticket offer. I'm like, sounds like a really easy upsell, you know?
Yeah.
Could you do some sort of, I think you said like affiliate, because then you could probably get some sort of continuity and get people to subscribe.
It's 400 a year, so that would already place it as a mid ticket, and then
for the person, if they bought it from like as an affiliate from you, or like white label. I think that's what I was trying to say is like, can you white label it so it looks like your bot or something, and then like we charge them to actually keep using it.
I wrote a task to figure out if I can do that.
Okay, cool. Let me keep sharing my screen. Yeah, so we already went over the calls. Obviously, keep posting results with the low ticket and the mid ticket. I would do an accountability form. There's different ways you can position this, but pretty much every single like low ticket offer we run, this is something we'll plug in, because what this lets us do is it's an extra deliverable, and people find it valuable because they're getting held accountable to actually make progress in their business, their life, their trading, their fitness. But at the same time, what this gives us is an understanding of when can we ascend these people, especially if you place a setter on this, right? Because the questions here, they're very targeted, and we're specifically trying to see like where in their journey is the person filling this out, and then we can see, are they facing any new problems? What problems has the low ticket or the mid ticket offer solved, and are they primed for ascending into the high ticket offer, right? Stories, you asked me for some stories. I'm going to share some here. The typical structure that I like to follow, there's two formats. It's always going to be problem or desire in the first story, right? So if you want to do XYZ, if you're struggling with XYZ, the second story will be the related, a lot of one sentence persuasion, right? Like I struggle with this as well. And I went from doing XYZ to XYZ because of epiphany moment, right? And that epiphany moment can usually be tied to your unique mechanism of solving whatever problem you're solving in the market. The third story will always be the solution, right? And this is how I did it, right? And then the fourth story is CTA. Typically, I like to plug in a fifth story, depending on kind of like sequence to sequence. And this is going to be a summary of you speaking, like a selfie video with auto captions on it, where you're just essentially going and re-explaining, restating everything you said from story 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then another format to do this would be to basically keep these 3 slides here, and you just change the first slide where the first slide is a poll, right? So have you been able to hit your detailing business goals this month? Yes, no. And then you go into the epiphany moment and knowledge gap, right? 3 months ago, I used to have an empty calendar. Then I learned how to do XYZ because of XYZ, and now I have XYZ, right? And all of this is possible because of solution. If you want the solution, and then you have your CTA. Something I will also say, this is something that a lot of people miss, and it's something that took some time to learn, but you should constantly be spamming results on your stories, because you have to understand that the first thing that a call, for example, a call will do, a person in every stage of the buying process will do this, but the first thing they do will typically be, when someone books a call, well, they're going to look into you, right? So they're going to, when they have a call scheduled with you, they're going to see, are you legit, right? Do you have results? Sometimes people will go out of their way and they'll look up your name on Reddit, right? Quora. That's something else you could do, and something we do for clients, right? To create good PR. But they're going to look into you, right? So you should always have result stories. If you don't have testimonials, post your own results. I just got a detailing deal for XYZ. If you post it on a reel, repost it on your story, because people check stories, and this happens in every single step of a lead's like buying process, right? So someone follows you, and maybe they checked out the low ticket, right? They're considering if they should buy it. They get nurtured by your result stories. They see who you are, right? That you are who you say you are. They see the proof and they buy. So I would constantly spam result stories. If someone has an onboarding call book, right, from the mid ticket, they're going to be checking you out. They're going to be checking your stories. So I would always have result stories as often as you can, if not every day. We round them every day if we have enough testimonials. If there's not enough testimonials, we try to get testimonials from what the client does, right? So if it's like a trading creator, of course, it would be like a trade recap. If it's an e-com creator, how much he made that day, how many orders he had, right? And you can do the same thing for yourself, so you always have results up on your story. And another thing, speaking of stories, I looked at your profile. Your highlights, they're not captioned. I would caption your highlights, so it's not just emojis. And then add a results highlight, right? Where it's just pure results, right? Whether it's student, your own results, and the stories that go into the results highlight will be your proof stories, right? Result stories that you post. That's super important because people check that. People really do check that. And when they book a call, right, every step of the process, people will check that. For the stories, another bot, I'll send this script to you. You can just prompt this, plug in your creator brief, and it's going to give you just multiple conversion stories. At some point, once you do like 5 of these, 4 of these, you're going to have a reference point on how you actually create these, and you'll be able to whip them up really quickly. Sometimes it takes more, like you won't even need the bot for them, where it's going to take you like 10 minutes to do, and you can just do it about a random thing, because it's always the same structure. If you look at influencers, in your space or any other B2C niches, it's always going to be the same structure. It's always going to be problem or desire in that first story, then how you actually got to that, or you solve that problem, then the solution and then your CTA. Some of the sequences might be longer, right? And they might stretch out the problem section. They might stretch out the knowledge gap section, but the structure is always the same. And obviously, like with your solution, you can stretch out your solution by adding credibility, right? And then I got this solution, and it's gotten me XYZ, and then you post a few slides of proof, right? Where we actually show that. So you can play around with these, but that's going to be the typical like core structure if you were to wear it down. For softwares, I saw that you guys are using, I think you're using Vimeo for your, I might be wrong, maybe it's a Drive. Use VTherb for your VSLs. It's just always, you're gonna guarantee a higher play rate as well as higher engagement rate. Use the autoplay feature. And for B2C specifically, it just always performs better. We actually, for Lionel's funnel, we set up a new funnel for his page. We tested Wistia for the first 5 days. Then we switched to VTherb because I was curious, right? Because I've always used VTherb, but I was curious what's gonna happen. And the play rate of the amount of people who actually like landed on the page and played the video, it went up by like 2.5x. So it's just gonna increase, and obviously more people consume, more people will take the next step. For the bots, I use Poe. I think Poppy is great. I haven't tested Poppy, but I've heard a lot of good things, so I think that's gonna work out for you. I use Poe for all the bots that I use. You guys already have all of these. You have ManyChat, and then for emails, for your email list, I wouldn't use GHL. Every time, like I've tested, Beehive will typically have the highest deliverability rate, and then there's also ActiveCampaign. I like Beehive, just personal preference. But
Do you
for
have to
highest
warm up?
deliverability,
Do you have to warm up the emails on Beehive?
if you use the stock Beehive domain, you don't have to. So it's like it's gonna send from the Beehive domain, but it's gonna be under your name. And we've never had issues with that. One thing I will suggest, and this is in the SOPs as well, have a welcome sequence when you have someone join your emails. Or if you, even right now, like when you're going to start emailing the 200 people, to just not burn your domain, because it could still go down. And it could still go, it's not, guaranteed that it won't. But have a 3-day sequence right now when you restart that email list of 9-word emails, right? And typically what I like to do when I restart like emails that I've never emailed before or that hasn't been emailed for months is start the first 3 days with just no links, nothing, just like a 1-sentence question email. And typically it's just a 9-word email, right? So it's going to be like, hey, are you still in the detailing business? Or have you moved on to something else? Question. Then the next email will be, hey, what are your biggest questions for scaling your detailing business? Just trying to make some extra content that could serve you. And also the big goal there with those sort of emails is to bait replies, right? You're trying to bait as many replies as possible from people, because those are like questions, right? So you get replies, and I will always take, like personally, I'll take the time, or I'll have a VA do it or setter do it. Reply back to those emails, because that's going to show the email service providers, it just always works. It's going to show them that you're a real person, because you're actually like starting a reply thread with the emails. You could try to sell them, right? I usually don't when I like restart an email list, but it just shows the server that you're a real person, because you're having conversations with these people back and forth. And that typically like bulletproofs the email list from breaking down the line and going to spam. So that's what I do for warm up, but I don't warm up the domain itself. I just use the Beehive domain.
Okay.
And then the same thing applies for people who join your list throughout the future. Have 2 segments on Beehive. Have a marketing segment and have a welcome segment. The welcome segment is where they receive just welcome emails for the first 2 days, 2 to 3 days, without any links, nothing, just very short emails that bait replies. You can also, one thing I started doing in my welcome segments is in the second email, I'll add a PS and I'll say, if the email landed in promotions, please move it out of promotions to your primary folder, so that you can receive XYZ benefit. It just depends on the creator. And then basically every single person who enrolls into the Beehive will go through that welcome segment. Once they complete it, that's the only time where they're going to go into the marketing emails, because number one, they're not going to be going in promotions, right? If they're opening those emails and they're replying to it, and that's just going to make sure that when they move to the marketing segment, the emails in the marketing segment always have the highest possible open rate, and there's no issues with that. So that's a typical email structure with lists, and I wouldn't sleep on the email list. We email the list every single day, sometimes twice a day. During launches, we'll do twice a day for sure. But there's a lot of revenue in emails, because even if people don't buy from an email, that's a place you're getting nurtured. And I've noticed like the youngest audiences, we've had a launch to Snapchat, make money online Snapchat offer. And the people were like 15 to 18, and we were still getting 30-40% open rates. And like we were getting decent click-through rates. So even though like these kids are brain rot, they're still opening the emails. So email isn't dead. I wouldn't sleep on it. Hopefully that helps.
What was I gonna ask? Oh, is there a way to verify emails on Go High Level? Oh, I can do the I can send the invitation link through the email, so they have to put in a correct email, right? Is that a good way to confirm it?
Yeah. And in your opt-in form field, I would typically like enter your email to receive your invitation in parentheses, right? So in the actual form field itself, I can send you an example of what that looks like. I'll make a screenshot after this call and send it to you to actually make sure they like put in the real phone number and the real email, because that does become a problem. And then you can do enter phone number for instant access, right? Which essentially motivates them to actually use their real phone number.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. For your automations, I don't know what you guys have set up so far. I would have your opt-in, no purchase for the low ticket purchased, no mid ticket. And again, you could switch this out for the call, depending on what you're optimizing for. Mid ticket purchase, no call, no show, call failed. Call failed is just a win back sequence. A lot of people miss this. This is in the SOPs as well. But if you don't close a call, there should be a sequence going out to them. You shouldn't just leave that lead and forget about it. And then something I would test for the low ticket leads and the mid ticket leads for your ascension, just have random through like a 90-day period at random times, have SMS and email sequences checking in on them when they're in the low ticket community, right? So it's like, hey, name, how's it going? Have you made progress with your detailing business? Just to start conversations that could prompt an ascension. That's the way I would structure it. And that's pretty much it, but I can answer any questions. And if there's anything I missed or any concerns, questions you guys have, let me know.